question said that the doctor's orders mini press 3,000 mcg's POAC. What you have available is mini press 2 milligrams scored. How many tabs will you administer in 24 hours? So our answer needs to be in tabs. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and write that down to the side. All right. So I like to start with the physician order. So the physician order is for 300 mcg's. All right. So mcg's need to cancel out. But when we go back to our problem, do we see mcg's? No. All we have is mg's. So we know we have to convert. So we know that 1,000 mcg's is equal to 1 mg. So our mcg's is going to cancel out, and we're going to be left with milligrams. So now we can go back to our problems. So 2 milligrams, what's going to go on top? 2 milligram what? Tablets. So milligrams is going to be canceled out, and then we're going to be left with tabs. So all we have to do is multiply the top, which is 3,000 times 1, which will give us 3,000. And then multiply straight across the bottom, 1,000 times 2, which is 2,000. And then we're going to get 3,000 divided by 2,000, and that's going to give us 1.5 tab. Now, are we done? No, we are not done, because our question says how many tabs will this patient be administered in 24 hours. So let's go back up to the problem. So it says that the patient is to receive this AC. So AC means before meals. So in the nursing world, a patient has breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So those are 3 meals. So they're going to get that 3 times a day. So we're going to take that 1.5 times 3, and that's going to give us 4.5 tabs. So this patient will get 4.5 tabs in 24 hours, but they will get 1.5 tabs per dose, okay? So just make sure that you're always paying attention to what your question is asking for. The question says that the doctor orders digoxin 0.25 milligrams PO daily, and what you have available is digoxin 125 mcg tablets scored. So scored just means that the tablets have that line down the middle, and meaning that it'll be equal if you would have to split the tab in half. So it says, how many tabs will you administer for this dose? So our answer needs to end in tabs. So let's write that down to the side. So I like to start with the physician's order. So that's 0.25 milligrams. All right. So milligrams need to cancel out. But when we go to our problem, we don't have any milligrams. We have mcg's. So we know that we have to cancel out. So milligrams is on the top. Milligrams need to be on the bottom. So we know that there is 1 milligram is equal to 1,000 micrograms. We'll write that a little better so it won't be no confusion. All right, so 1 milligram is equal to 1,000 mcg's. All right, now we can cancel out the mcg's. So we go back to our problem. 125 mcg's over 1 tablet. All right, mcg's cancel out, and we're left with tabs. So all we have to do is multiply straight across. So you'll do 0.25 times 1,000, and that will give us 250. And then we will have, do the bottom, 1 times 125. That'll give us 125. And then we'll just divide, and that will give us 2 tabs. And this one is actually for a dose, so guess what? We're good. So they're just going to get 2 tabs. The question says the doctor orders Dilatin 0.75 grams PO stat. What you have available is Dilatin 250 milligrams capsules. So the question is, how many capsules will you administer? So we're going to go to the side and write down our answer needs to end in capsules. So now let's start with the physician's order. 0.75 grams. So we know grams have to cancel out, but when we look at our problem, we don't see any grams. So we have to go through the middleman. So we know that 1 gram, so gram is on the top, so gram has to go on the bottom here. 1 gram equal 1,000 milligrams. All right, so now milligrams have canceled out, and we're left with grams have canceled out. Now we're left with milligrams. So now we have milligrams in our problem. So we have 250. Remember, in order for the units of measure to cancel out, it has to be on the top and the bottom. So 250 would go on the bottom, and 1 capsule would go on the top. So grams, milligrams cancel out, and we're left with capsules. So all we have to do is multiply the top, which is 0.75 times 1,000, and that will give us 750. And then we would do 1 times 250. That's multiplying the bottom, which would be 250. And we would have 750 divided by 250, and that's going to give us 3 capsules. So the answer is 3 capsules. The question says the doctor orders penicillin G 223,500 units IM every 4 hours. What you have available is penicillin G 500,000 units per 2.5 ml. So the question says, how many mLs will you administer? So we're going to write to the side. Our answer needs to end in mLs. Now, let's start with the physician order. The physician order is 223,500 units. All right, we know that units need to cancel out because our answer needs to end in mLs. So we go to our problem and see, where do we see units? So units is on the top, so units must go on the bottom here. So we have 500,000 units, and on the top we'll have 2.5 mLs. All right, so then units cancel out, and we're left with mLs. So now all we have to do is multiply straight across. So 223,500 units times 2.5, and that's going to give us 558,750. And then on the bottom, we just have the 500,000. If you wanted to use a 1 as a placeholder, you could. So you could just have 1 times 500,000, which is just 500,000. And then we would divide those two. And once you divide, you would get 1.1175. But we're going to round that to the nearest tenths, and that's going to give us 1.1 mLs.